I am back to stamping with powders instead of inks. Such an effective, amazing technique, and I really cannot live without it. Welcome to my channel, it's Asia Marquet here, Lemon Creation, and today I'm gonna be doing a landscape oriented page. I am working on the loose pages, and later I'm gonna put them in some kind of art journal similar to the one you just seen. And I'm gonna be working with PaperArtsy stamps. Some of them are mounted, some of them are not, but if you have a repositionable glue, you can just work fine with it and adhere it to the acrylic block. And those are my brand new digital files. I made two A4 pages of hand-drawn, totally hand-drawn. So they are not perfect, but they are really mine hearts, because St. Valentine is coming, so I was thinking, you know, we can use them. So they are available in my shop. You're gonna get a link in the description down below. And they're not very expensive, so you have, I'm not even sure, around 100 stars, maybe more. I didn't, not stars, hearts, I didn't count them. And they are instant download, so if you have a printer, you can just print them out easily and use them for maybe your cards for St. Valentine or some other art. And today I'm gonna be working with Infusions from PaperArtsy, and I wanted to add something reddish, not exactly red, but something maybe similar, to kind of make a St. Valentine page, first one this year. And even though I'm not very keen on St. Valentine, why not make a page about love? Love is a good feeling, so let's make it. And my page is gonna be grungy, so that's why I choose Infusions. And I'm taking this opportunity to show you a little bit of my hearts. I just freshly fussy cut them, so they are really different. And I wanted to also ask you, is there a color combo you would like me to use? Because I was talking about making interactive video, so I am really wondering if there is a color combo or some special things you would like me to use in my next videos. I would be very happy if you leave me a comment or idea down below. So let's come back to the page. I'm using these two Infusions, and yes, they are in form of powders. If you don't know them, they are PaperArtsy Infusions. One of the best buy ever. They are very cheap also. Highly pigmented, so they're gonna last you for a long time. And I am putting them on the palette, and I'm gonna be adding water. But because they are highly pigmented and they are very strong colors, you have to either wash your brush very well between each mixing process, or you have to just use two brushes, as I've done in my case. Do not use spray on the powder. I've done it at the beginning when I was learning how to use powders, and they will just fly away, and later you're gonna have powders on the things you didn't even expect that there is a powder. You know, some piece of paper you're gonna take, and then there is gonna be a powder on it, and when it's reacting with water, it's reacting with water, so you know it's gonna stain. So that's the best thing to do. Just water them with brush, or just add, when the powder is already wet, you can spray it a little bit, because you are sure that it's not gonna fly away. And if you want to stamp with powders, you cannot really dilute them too much. They have to be kind of not very liquid. Like you need to check also. You have to make trials and see which texture of the powder works the best for you. And I have to tell you honestly that some of the stamps do not print well with powders like that. Everything depends on the quality of the stamp also. So I'm gonna be working on two types of stamps. They are rubber stamps. Some of them are mounted, some of them are unmounted. Unmounted ones are just simply cheaper, that's why I usually buy them. And when you have a double-sided tape, not even double-sided, repositionable tape, you can just use it to place it on the acrylic block. What I'm doing now is I am just simply dabbing it like I would do in the like I would dab in the ink, but I always check if there is not too much water on the stamp if it makes, you know, if the ink is visible, or the paint rather is visible. And if I assume that I am fine with it, I stamp it. And it's always a surprise, because, you know, sometimes there is too much water and it runs and the stamp is not very well visible. But look at that, guys, perfect. When I was telling you about infusions, I told you that they have the walnut stain in them, so the color is quite dark. You don't see if it's magenta, you don't really see if it's violetta. It's kind of dark color, almost black. But there is a way to fix it if you find that your color is a little bit too dark, and you're gonna see in a moment how I fix it. Now I'm using a second stamp. If I'm not mistaken, it's a stamp by Set Up There, which has a really nice set of stamps, really grungy, completely my cup of tea. And as you can see, I've noticed that there is a little bit too, the powder got a little bit too watery, so I removed the excess of water. And I'm adding the second stamp with the second color. And I told you I don't even recognize colors like that, you know, when they are on the palette. Now I recognize, because this one actually, look, the details on the stamp are a little bit more visible than the script, which is really tiny. And so the stamps are more visible, and also the color is more visible. You know, I wanted a little bit of black. This is done on purpose, and I am quite comfortable with infusions already, and I know how they stamp. So now for the part of, I'll call it releasing the color. I took a brush, loaded with water, and I just kind of ran it through the parts of the stamp. That's exactly what I'm doing right now here. But I decided that I'm gonna use actually mini sprayer, which has, you know, like a mini spray, which gives me, but is not as controlled, I would say, as the brush is. And with brush, sometimes I kind of make harsh lines, and I don't like it. So that's why I also like to use the sprayer. And once the part of the stamp covered with water, the color runs, and you can actually see the true color of infusions, which is amazing. And look at that, guys, it's really really bright, really like full of color. And so I did it on both sides, and I'm gonna just leave it like that, a little bit on one side, a little bit on other side. And as you can see on the top one, which I'm doing right now, I kind of cannot manage very well with the brush. You know, I find the lines are very harsh, very but not nice, not flowy like, and that's why Mini Mister is a perfect choice for that. If you would use just normal sprayer, everything would get a little bit of water, like, you know, the whole paint, the whole stamping would move. So that's Mini Mister that's why Mini Mister is a good choice in this case. Remember though, always clean your stamps. I am not big on cleaning stamps, especially after archival inks. I leave them always like they are. But if you use other inks which are not permanent, and when you use powders like that, you have to always clean your stamp. That's very important, because later you're gonna find yourself with a transfer on the paper. And I didn't want to throw out the rest of the paint, and I took a piece of paper to just make a transfer of the rest of the paint. By accident I took two actually, but look at that. This is just amazing. You can see those two colors really nicely, and you can see the walnut stain, which gives, in this case, because they are very or quite dark colors, it actually changes into black, basically, almost. Yeah, it's not actually black, it's still walnutty color, but it's so beautiful. And like that, I'm gonna have a bonus page. So be on the lookout. I hope I'm gonna post it on Sunday. I'm not sure if I'm gonna manage to do the edition, but if not, maybe Monday. And yes, I'm gonna do some ATCs with that. So now I'm gonna dry a little bit of the page, not too much, a little bit, when I am getting bored with drying, I usually use tissue and I just dab the excess of the paint. But you know, when the paint moves, it leaves actually this kind of stains. I call them stains, and I really love it. So if you are patient enough and you have time to spend on drying and, you know, making the paint move, do it, why not? But be careful, because the longer you dry, the more warping kind of yes, you can get on your page. It's not always the case, but if the page is laden with water, yes, it can happen. So sometimes I just dab the excess with tissue, and yes, that works for me. So my page is still not completely dry, or my paint is still not completely dry. I take a mini mister again, and I just spray from a distance, but really from the distance, onto the middle of the page, because I want to have very, very tiny, you know, flow of color. I don't want to waste the stamp, because if I was to spray with a bigger bottle or bigger sprayer rather, or add simply more water, everything would just run and I would not see the stamp anymore. But if I do it delicately, actually my mini mister was completely empty, so I was not afraid here, and here I was doing it a little bit closer. But if you do it from far, much farther than I was doing, once again my mini mister was empty, so that's why I did it close at the end. You are sure not to waste your stamp, but you are sure also to add this small kind of blobs of color, which is super cool. Guys, by the way, please let me know if you can hear in the background some kind of a humming noise, because my computer is, I think, dying. I cannot manage to make any videos without this sound of the ventilator, which is moving all the time, and it's really annoying, and I cannot do anything about that. I think I need to invest in the new computer, which is not gonna happen anytime soon, and I really apologize for that. I need to find a solution. And while the page is dry, I decided to add a little bit of VersaFine Onyx Black ink. This one is permanent, and again a number stamp from PaperArtsy. Not too much, just a little bit, just some small accents, because I was thinking that these blobs of paint are kind of empty, so I wanted to add a tiny bit of stamping. You know me and stamping, it's like a, you know, love relationship, cannot live without stamping. The next step is something I haven't done for a while already. I'm gonna be adding these, you know, golden leaf adhesives, and I have a perfect glue for that. I cannot find this glue anymore. I don't know, I think it's discontinued. The bottle is dirty, I'm sorry, because it's so gluey and it's very liquid. So, you know, even though I'm trying and I'm regularly washing it, I cannot do anything about that. It's just, it is like it is. But I have to say, it's the perfect glue for splatter. I'm using one of my like old brushes. I'm just dabbing it in the liquid, because it's really like a gluey kind of paint, and I can splatter it. And once it's like halfway dry, I can place on it golden leaf adhesive or silver leaf adhesive, or the flakes, you know, the golden flakes, and they will stick beautifully to the page. And what is so cool about it, it's splatter. So they actually, it would be like you would use a golden paint, for example, but it's not really a paint, because you can see the texture of the flakes. So you're gonna see it in a moment. And both products I'm using right now, the golden leaf and the adhesive I used before, they are made by RicoDesign. I think it's a German brand, I'm not sure, but I can buy it in Germany. And well, I am very rarely in Germany, like maybe once in a 5-year time, so it's really hard for me to get hold of them, but they are really cool. And maybe you can buy them somewhere else, I'm not totally sure. The only thing which I don't like about it is that it's so messy. The flakes are flying everywhere, and I was trying to make it, you know, a little bit, not of the camera, but I put it towards me a little bit, because I wanted to manage better. And I was trying to use tiny pieces of the flakes, not to waste too much of this foil, but I was struggling so much because there was so much splatter, which is gluey, of course, so it was sticking to my hands. And finally I decided to use the bigger piece of the foil, and yes, it's a real mess. Everything flies. It's like embossing powder for me, so that's why I think I don't use it very often. And the other thing is, once you placed this more or less everywhere where the glue was, you should take a brush, which is kind of tough brush, and remove the excess, because surely there is gonna be excess. When there is too much of it, I don't like it that much, so that's why I use my brush. But there are some beautiful parts of this splatter which are so nice, like really round, really cool. And you know, this golden leaf left some kind of, you know, texture to it, so that it wouldn't get with the paint. But I'm not saying paint could be really a good solution if you don't have the golden foil, but if you have it, you know, you get this beautiful texture, raised texture, and it looks really nice. And so once this is done, and you're gonna see later that I actually forgot about few pieces of splatter which weren't covered with the foil. But once this is done, I'm trying to, you know, keep the biggest pieces of the foil and put it. I have a kind of a different one also in the box, but I don't know how you do it, guys. If you do it like in a better way, like more clean way than me, but I'm just struggling with that. As you've seen, all my fingers and all the table, everything is covered with the gold. But the effect is really beautiful, isn't it? And then for the focal point, I'm gonna use my new digi hearts. Of course, I need to do publicity stunt again. Yes, I have no choice. So I actually really love them. I made some of them like on the grunge kind of side. Some of them are funky, some of them are more, you know, traditional hearts, but even industrial. But I am choosing, I think, mostly grunge, you know, focal points. And I was not sure which one to use, but definitely something black. You've seen it, you know, something black was matching the page much better than the white one. Also, maybe because as you can see, the page I am working on, it's not totally white. It is watercolor paper, but it's not beige, but it's ecru. You know, it's not striking white, and so I forgot the word for the white, which is not completely white. It's just I know it in French and I don't know it in English anymore. But that's why I also thought that the white hearts do not match the page. And the black is always the good idea. And as you can see here in the corner, I've got a little bit of glue, which I splattered before, and on which I didn't put the foil, so I removed a little bit the excess with the finger, and then with my mono eraser, which is just a perfect eraser, the Wolf. It's the best eraser ever. It works perfectly with permanent inks. Everything depends, of course, once again, on the paint and on the amount, not on the paint, on the paper and on the amount of ink you put. But usually if you have just small, you know, accidents, it's erasing them perfectly, and it's really a good buy. And you can find a link to that eraser in the description, under the video, in the description box below. Once again, I found some glue which I didn't cover, and look at that, guys. I find this page looks really, really nice. So now I'm gonna just add my super messy word to finish the page, and be on the lookout for the second part of this video. I'm gonna make ATCs, which I am gonna add to the first few orders from my shop. And this is it. I hope you enjoy it. I enjoyed this video, this technique, and I hope I'm gonna see you soon in my next video. I'm sending you big hugs, and as always, please subscribe. Bye bye guys.